Hey folks, Pastor Chuck Blair here. Great to be offering a message of the day on this Friday. So today I want to talk about a beautiful little line again from the Sermon on the Mount, and it's one of those lines I think that's got so much wisdom in it, and as well as Jesus often did, a lot of humor in it as well. So let me read that to you. So the line is a real simple one. Which of you, if his son or his daughter asks for bread, will give them a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you, for this sums up the law and the prophets. I love that line. That's what we're going to look at. Who if you were asked, to give someone bread, to give your child bread, would give them a stone. And again, we can look at that, and I feel that so much of the Bible, specifically with Jesus, we have to see him saying that with a smile. It would make me smile, like, because it's kind of silly, right? Like, I want bread, here, eat a stone. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I think there's a deep, deep, deep wisdom in that too. The wisdom comes to this. We have to be so aware of what's being asked of us, and what are the good things that we're asking for. I think about this, and I think about times in my life where I said the wrong thing, and I feel that that's what this is pointing towards. There's times where we are really to offer bread. That's what people are looking for, and instead, what we do is we get a stone. One example that I was thinking of in my own mind, and it's one that was deeply humbling. And thank goodness I said it to a friend who was a good enough friend to call me on it. And it was a simple one. So this dear friend of mine called me up. They had gotten sort of preliminary cancer diagnosis, and was chatting with them about that. And typical as a pastor, you chat and you pray and you talk, etc. And then a few days later, or a week or so later, I got a call from the person, and they'd gotten the cancer diagnosis. And it was operable, which was terrific. So I went like, oh, that's great news. And the person wasn't upset, but they said something that really, really humbled me, and that made a huge difference in my ministry. What they said is that, Chuck, remember, it's still cancer. Remember, it's still cancer. See, I had my agenda in my head that there's good cancers and there's bad cancers. And I was going to be the upbeat one. And if they said it was what I judged to be a good cancer, I was going to be like, oh, this is terrific, great news. and here's a young adult who's going like, it's cancer. That's what I needed to hear. And all the worries and concerns that went along with that. Because no matter what cancer someone has, it's a big deal. And I was sort of trying to make light of it because I was coming from my agenda, not taking the time to listen to what they wanted. What they wanted, bread, and what I offered them was a stone. Now, of course, other times, thankfully, and it's happened less than it should have. I've been able to be in conversations where somehow I said the right thing at the right time. One that was near and dear on my heart was this young man who I taught at Pocono Mountain High School, a young man by the name of Chris DeMilton. And I remember teaching Chris really well. And I remember one of the first days I taught him in 10th grade, he came into class, and he was actually high. And I pulled him over to the window, my upstairs room at Pocono Mountain High School. And it was a beautiful view, actually. Some of you probably been up to Camelback Mountain, took a long view out to Camelback Mountain. And I said, Chris, don't ever come to class high again. I'll give you a pass today, but don't ever do that again. For whatever reason, somehow it was me saying the right thing at the right time. Now, most of the time it doesn't happen, but that time it did. And Chris became a wonderful student in my class. And that was the same year I left, actually, to move down here to Philadelphia. So at the end of the year, all the students were able to go around, kind of say thank you to teachers. And Chris came in with his buddy, and he'd gotten me, I think, the most sappy, corny thank you card I'd ever gotten. Literally, it had a rose on the front. It was a frosted glass thing. and very sort of like, thank you so much, you've changed, all that stuff. And it was very sweet. For some reason it was the right thing. Some reason for that day the communication was correct. So I think a lot of this is just to humble us and just to get us to really think through how we communicate with other people, and to take the time to just take a breath and to really think, what does this person really need to hear now? And if we're not sure, and what I would hold is most of the time it's important to not be sure, to ask, to simply say, what would support look like for you now? What do you need? What do you most want me to hear? Those questions open it up and they help to pull the person out just a little more. So we make sure that if they're wanting bread, we're not offering them a stone, a simple piece. And of course, God will always bless that endeavor because it comes from a soft heart and it comes from a deeply loving heart. So wishing everyone a great weekend. Stay safe, have a good time, and enjoy conversations, just trying to be really clear. What is the person actually asking for? Take care, my friends. Join us, 10:30 a.m. Sunday online.